Welcome to the Transform Your Relationship podcast, where we'll go beyond the typical relationship advice. I'm your host, Manisha Terry, somatic healing practitioner and mentor. Each week, I'll share personal insights, client success stories, and how my holistic trauma-informed approach can help you transform your relationship from the inside out. You'll learn ways to recognize and prioritize your needs, get to the root of what's upsetting you, and courageously ask for what you want so you can confidently co-create the relationship you desire. You'll also hear from guest experts who will be invited to share their unique approaches to transformation, and at the end of each episode, you'll receive one tangible practice you can implement right away to transform your relationship. Let's dive in. Hey everybody, welcome. This is the last episode of 2022 for the Transform Your Relationship podcast. Thank you so much for being with me on this journey since we started in June. I so appreciate you. And if you are new here, then welcome to my world. My name is Manisha Terry. I'm a somatic healing practitioner. I also work with supporting my clients around embodiment, and I specifically work with highly sensitive people because I feel that we just have a different kind of nervous system. And there is a very specific approach that I have found really works for people who are highly sensitive when they're navigating their emotions, overwhelm, things like people pleasing, overgiving, all of the things that can really create challenges in relationships. So thank you for being here. We're going to do something a little bit different today. Since it's the last week of the year, instead of doing a solo episode or having a guest interview, I thought I would leave you with a guided practice that you can use today if you're feeling like you need to reconnect to yourself, but that you can also use at any time that you're feeling disconnected, overwhelmed, or ungrounded. And especially at this time of year, I find the winter time in the Northern Hemisphere, at least, it's really this time where we want to go inwards. We want to be a little bit more quiet. And however, our external world is gathering and doing a lot, which can also be so joyful. But I really find that taking some time to be quiet and to go inwards can actually deeply support our relationships. So today we'll dive into a guided meditation in just a few minutes that will help you connect more to your body. And one of the reasons I wanted to offer this was because I often get questions around how somatic work helps us to heal in our relationships. And I'm planning to release a full episode on my approach to this work and how it can help you early into 2023. But to be honest, somatic work is really something that is meant to be experienced because it is about your body. It's about tuning inwards, noticing the deeper sensations, your feelings, your experiences, and what's really happening in our bodies. And so while I will absolutely do my best to explain it, I think for now, if you're curious, just actually experiencing a practice and noticing how you're feeling before and then checking in with how you're feeling afterwards will really be the best evidence for you to see if this kind of approach can work for you. I also particularly wanted to offer this at this time of year because I find that the holidays is really a mixed bag for many people. It can absolutely be a time of reunions and connection and joy and traditions and family, and for others it can be really challenging because maybe your relationships just aren't what you'd like them to be or what you'd hope they would be, and you might be experiencing some sadness or some grief just around your own expectations, and that's really normal. I think that we have this external show about what this time of year should be or what it could be. And, while I absolutely think it can be a really beautiful, magical time of year because, again, Northern Hemisphere, it's darker, it is a more yin time. I do think that there's a lot to be gained from this time of year, but I think it can also be lonely for some, and we can start to feel disconnected if we're maybe not having the experience that, all the Hallmark movies are showing on TV. So wherever you are in that range, know that there are likely others that are feeling the exact same way. So What I also want to share here is that if you are someone who's feeling stressed right now, or just feeling emotionally overwhelmed or anxious, or just struggling in at this time of year in your relationships, it's really common to be also on a bit of high alert, because when our nervous systems are stressed, we are on high alert. It's a way that we protect ourselves. But when we're on high alert, we also have the tendency to misperceive situations because we're, experiencing them through this other lens of being on high alert, maybe feeling a little bit defensive. And so we may not always perceive things in the way that they are meant. And we might take things personally, or just kind of feel like a lot of things are happening to us. And so this is really a beautiful opportunity, first to notice that maybe that's happening for us, but also, to me, when that happens for myself, or if I hear that language coming up for clients, it's really a signal of just feeling disconnected to myself, disconnected to my body, disconnected to this internal feeling. So anything I can do to support my clients to tune back in, to help them sit with that discomfort or that inner experience, generally helps them feel more calm and grounded. And this is definitely something I do for myself. If I'm feeling scattered or overwhelmed, one of the first things, once I notice that that's happening, is to really plant myself down and kind of really tune into what is really happening? What is my internal experience here? And how can I shift that so that I can start to see and feel the world around me in a different way? So again, this is, I think, can be a very magical, beautiful time of year, and also laced with a lot of different emotions. So wherever you are on that spectrum, if you're feeling that nudge to find that sense of home within, to feel more internally connected, I invite you to join me today. If you are, walking or driving, you might want to just note the time stamp on this and, come back to it at another time when you can be in a place where you can rest. And if you are already there, then I invite you to just get a little bit more comfortable. And we'll start by taking the first few minutes to just tune into your body, to tune into your breath. You can be seated for this. You can be lying down. I always remind and recommend to people, take the first few moments to fidget, to move around as you need to. Maybe you need to stretch. Just kind of do what your body wants you to do so that it can feel comfortable, just settling in for about 10 minutes or so. And so once you're in that place, let's just begin to take our attention a little bit inwards to our breath. So maybe you're in a place where there is still some noise externally going on, and that's okay. So we're going to start to create just that little bit of that barrier. So taking a breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. And then doing this a few more times. It's at your own pace. In through your nose, out through your mouth. Right, scanning your body to see if you need to adjust even a little bit more, to get even a little bit more settled. And now beginning to really notice the flow of your breath. So noticing it moving into your body. Maybe you observe that your chest expands, maybe your belly rises. You're noticing the fall of your belly and chest with your exhale. And notice how other things might be shifting in your body. Even with this few moments of paying attention, you might observe that your body wants to take a deeper breath. So just let it. We're not trying to change our breath or force it or do anything with it in this moment to manipulate it. Taking that time to simply be with and observe, and maybe notice the parts of our body that are starting to feel relaxed and letting those parts sink in, to the chair, to the ground, or to the bed, or wherever you are. Just allow that to happen. And as you allow these parts of your body to settle, you might notice other parts that are feeling a little bit tight or tense, or perhaps you're working with some pain or an injury or something going on in your body or a health condition. So even allowing that to just come into your awareness, not trying to change it, not trying to fix it, just being with it, like inviting it in and breathing with what you're noticing. As you continue to allow yourself to settle, tuning into some of those physical sensations, bringing your attention to any thoughts that are coming up, right? When we get quiet in this way, sometimes our mind feels like it goes online and all of these thoughts start to come in. And notice what they are. Notice if they're of a particular category. Maybe they're about the same person or situation. We are not trying to figure anything out in this moment. We are only recognizing what is there, what is present, because that is taking up space, whether you are conscious of it or not. Right? When we are really working through something, or perhaps trying to figure something out, or struggling with something that is in the background all the time, it might be taking up less attention when you're trying to focus on something else, but I can guarantee you that it's taking up some energy and space. And so what I find is that as we notice and attend to those thoughts and just really acknowledge them, we're also like just letting them know, it's okay for you to be here. I see you, I hear you. Maybe there's something certainly that needs to shift down the line so that they're not quite allowed as a presence. But for right now, it's really acknowledging, like, okay, this is what's coming up for me. This is what's taking up a lot of my brain space. As you allow that to kind of just arise and noticing it, still keep that connection in with your body, right? So now you have noticed the sensations, the parts of your body that are relaxing, the parts that maybe still a little bit tight. And now the thoughts also have this place. And now let's just notice any emotions that are arising. Sometimes when those thoughts come up, we'll start to notice these emotions around it. Maybe there's some sadness or some grief or some anger or any whole host of emotions, again, without trying to move them or push them down or ignore them. We are giving them space. We're just giving them a little bit of space at the table. Right, breathing with it. And so this is that part of the somatic work that when you sit with that discomfort and you practice sitting with it, even if it's for a few minutes, this is what can really, really shift your whole experience. So let's just be with this here. And you can tune into the sound of my voice if this is feeling like super uncomfortable for you. Just continuing to be with your breath. All we're doing is we're giving all of these things just a little bit of room to breathe. Right? We're not going to unpack anything in this moment. We're just giving everything a little bit of room to breathe. So continuing with your breaths here. And now I'm going to invite you to tune into something really quite subtle. And so if you don't notice anything, it's completely fine. But sometimes as we, bring up the physical sensations, the thoughts, and then the emotions, we can also start to notice like an energy flowing through our body. Maybe in some places it's feeling like it's flowing pretty clearly. In other places, it really feels stuck. And, and in some cases, you might not feel anything, and that's okay too. We're not trying to force you to feel anything, but just start to notice as you hold your awareness within your body, just tuning in, is there a part of your body that is calling your attention where you're really noticing some internal, kind of more of that subtle movement? Almost like there's a flow of energy within your body that perhaps you can tap into. And so I'll give you just another moment there, simply to notice what's coming into your awareness, right? Not trying to dig around and find anything. And just acknowledging whatever it is that you've observed, and coming back to that physical place that we started with feeling the weight of our body, whether it's on a chair or a bed or the ground. Maybe deepening your breath a little bit. And now I am inviting you to deepen your breath a little bit more intentionally. And so bringing more awareness to your breath, taking a couple of deeper breaths in your own time. And then as you're ready, just starting to move your body a little bit. Maybe you stretch your arms or your legs, or if you're ready, you might gently open your eyes and even stand up. Sometimes after a practice like this, our body really wants to stretch out a little bit. Sometimes it wants to be still. So again, this is part of the practice of tuning inwards and really noticing, like, what is happening for me? What is my internal experience? And as you shift out of this, just start to notice, like, how am I feeling? For sometimes we can feel a lot more calm just because we've taken that time to really acknowledge all these pieces and feel a bit more centered. Sometimes we might notice that in that quiet or in that stillness, we've had some sort of memory or insight, or something's come up where now we feel like, okay, now I have to go do something about this, so just really, it's so individual. And anything that you really do or say, from this place of feeling more calm and grounded will absolutely be more of a reflection of your truth and like what you really need to say and what's really going to come across. So taking a couple more breaths here, and simply notice how you're feeling and what you need to transition into the next part of your day, whether it is a glass of water, a little walk, a little bit of food, whatever it is, just do what you need to do so that you can transition. So I hope this is helpful, and I'd love to hear any thoughts that you have, and just a little reminder that when we do these practices to turn inwards or find that center within ourselves, or find that sense of wholeness or home within ourselves, it's not about, pulling away or isolating ourselves or not needing anybody. But I really find that the more comfortable we are within our own bodies, it completely affects your internal state, of course, and it shows up in how you are in relationship. And over time, I really find that the more and more we practice that internal state of the clearing and like finding our center and finding that calm, it also draws more and more people into your world who will reflect that back to you. So that is my wish for you as we wrap up this year. Just whatever you're feeling, wherever you are in the range, I hope that you find a little comfort in connecting with yourself in a deeper way. Thank you so much for joining me for this week's episode of the Transform Your Relationship podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe, rate, and leave a review on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts to help more people find us so they can transform their relationships too. As a thank you, every month, We'll pick one winner to receive a free 45-minute one-on-one somatic coaching session with me to explore and gain clarity around a relationship challenge. And if you know somebody who could benefit from listening to the show, then please do share and help me reach more highly sensitive women who want to experience richer, more connected relationships.